Skyrider, 1985. After a successful run through its junior years, Canada's Wonderland was ready for its first major new attraction beyond those that came along with its opening. Given the ease of publicity attached with the park's location in Canada, added with the uniqueness of it being the country's only true theme park, the sky was the limit as far as what they could introduce. The park's ambitious owners, King's Entertainment Company, were headquartered in Cincinnati, also the location of their park's chain's mother park, Kings Island. The operators of Wonderland, it would turn out, did not have to look further than their backyard for a ride that would prove to be affordable, constructed on schedule, and hopefully be reliable. Japan had a long love affair with roller coasters. Built by local manufacturers from the 1950s and onwards that still exist today. Their taste for designs that would challenge the limits of technology of the time can be found in rides like Moonsault Scramble at Fuji-Q Highland and the gigantic Daidarosaurus at Expoland. This meant that manufacturers in Japan during the 70s and 80s were producing some of the most daring roller coaster designs available. Togo, a company based on the outskirts of Tokyo in 1982, had introduced stand-up train designs to their existing coasters, Momonga Loop Coaster at Yomiuri Land and Dangai. The first ground-up stand-up model to debut in the world was built in prototype at Togo's facility in Japan, which representatives from Kings Island visited in 1983 for an invitation-only test ride. The result was a success, and the park agreed to purchase the prototype directly for $3 million American and assemble it in Ohio. On April 22, 1984, King Cobra opened for Kings Island visitors to enjoy to much greater success than its previous highlight attraction, the Bat.
Step in, and stand by for the ride of your life. But don't sit down, 'cause there ain't no seats. There ain't no seats.
Canada's Wonderland secured the next model, and on Saturday, May 4th, 1985, Skyrider opened to the public for the first time, allowing for the convenient advertising of being the country's first and only stand-up coaster, an acclaim they can still hold on to today. It was not without incident, however. A micro switch on the ride triggered during the first day's operation caused the train to stall on the steeply inclined lift hill for several minutes before continuing around the circuit. The ride, at 85 feet high with a drop of 80 feet and a speed of 51 miles per hour, had a compact layout similar to Schwarzkopf Designs, a popular German manufacturer.
Now let's take a look at this dynamic course. The lift on the steep slope stimulates the rider.
Welcome to Skyrider! For your safety, please keep your feet flat on the floor with your arms to the trees at all times. Please stand in upright position with your back and shoulders against the seat. Hold on tight and enjoy your ride!
After climbing the lift hill, riders would turn to the right, picking up substantial speed on the continuous downward gradient towards the main drop. Riders also on the right side of the train were treated to a slightly tilted, sheer drop perspective while taking this turn. The train then headed down the main drop. As mentioned earlier, Togo had modified some of its previous coaster designs with new stand-up cars, which thus had the same rolling stock as their traditional coaster designs. Therefore, while the coaster that ended up as Skyrider had a layout designed for a stand-up experience, the trains were more of a Frankenstein creation, modified from the standard Togo looping coaster vehicle. The riders, placed two abreast, were secured on a single support fused to the chassis of the train. The result was a rigid structure which the seating harness was secured to, thankfully with pronounced and impressive shocks, although some debate exists as to whether these did anything. Over-the-shoulder restraints and a small foam probing bar secured the lower chest area, combined with a seating harness that could be raised and lowered by a ride attendant according to the guest's size.
The flexibility of the supporting device produces a thrill that is doubled by the effect of rising up and down. This thrill far surpasses the experience of a coaster in which the rider is stationary.
This is where the experience could be customized, as a more intrepid rider could raise their feet, allowing for the bicycle seat unforgivingly nestled below their personal area to lock in a higher position than necessary, allowing the rider's feet to dangle slightly off the floor. Returning to the main drop, provided the rider had done their due diligence and preparations as outlined previously and were seated on the right side of the train with their seat slightly raised, a thrust of ejector airtime rendered a temporary weightless sensation down the main drop, matched only today by Falcon's Fury at Busch Gardens, Tampa. The loop to follow, barely clothoid in design, provided stronger than expected G-forces which could be felt in the buckling legs of those resigned to remaining bold-legged for the duration of their journey. After the loop, an even more satisfying airtime hill hits the riders, but it is at this point of the experience where the limitations of the stand-up design are first felt, in painfully dramatic fashion. Through this element, guest bodies would collide with the over-their-shoulder restraints securing them. After this assault, the riders are then sucked into a double helix, possibly the most misguided layout decision in Togo and roller coaster history, since then the riders would then have their head thrashed for several prolonged seconds between the horse collar restraints as the train rattled through. While impressive from land, this portion of the ride proved to be over life the most infamous and unsufferable throughout its history. Riders then climbed another more forgiving floater airtime hill. A trick track section followed, swinging riders from side to side before a right turn into two small bunny hills. The train then rises into its brake run, where the sudden stop of the trim brakes created a signature rattle from the settling structure.
Welcome back, Orange Train. For your safety, please keep your feet flat on the floor until we bring you inside the station.
Skyrider proved to be a major success, not only strengthening the selection of rides at Canada's Wonderland, but also with King Cobra being a day's drive away, allowed for global thrill attention to center around the park as well. A year after its opening, a sister park, King's Dominion, opened their own stand-up model, Shockwave, with a similar layout except for a mirrored final section. All three rides would run into the 2000s, when in 2001 King Cobra was removed due to the expenses surrounding maintenance and rarity of parts from the then defunct Togo. Then, on May 5, 2007, a woman was killed in an accident on Fajin Rain 2, a large stand-up model also made by Togo. While the accident was deemed caused due to negligence of maintenance, the perspective among park owners of their own rides' growing maintenance headaches, combined with their dwindling popularity and the rough rides from their aging, not to mention the more modern stand-up designs by Bolliger and Mabillard that were already themselves being modified to traditional floorless trains, the few stand-up Togos still in operation quickly began to disappear. The two remaining in North America ran successfully, however, until 2014, when Skyrider gave its final trip to diehards before being taken out of service for undisclosed reasons. Shockwave was to follow in 2015. Skyrider was able to secure a new home at Cavallino Matto as freestyle, thrilling riders to this day. No buyers, however, were found for King Cobra or Shockwave, and sadly, both coasters were scrapped over time. In 2018, it was finally revealed, after an unexpected delay, that Yukon Striker, a B&M dive coaster, was to take the place of Skyrider in a newly themed Frontier Canada section of the park, based on Wonderland's original plans. Through its layout and color scheme, it pays tribute to the original ride that once terrified millions before it. Today, no trace in North America remains of the brief era in the 80s when Skyrider and its siblings were seen as state-of-the-art thrill rides. Thanks for watching.